Hello, and welcome to another wonderful Wired Wednesday. My name is Ashley, and this is Apple Privacy Settings. So the first thing you're going to do on your iPad is you're going to go to the settings. And that's just a gear that you'll see on your home screen. Once you're in here, there's a few things you can do. So you can go into your name, and then if you go into password and security, that's where you're going to change your password and some of your security settings. To make your device more secure and private, the first thing I would do is I would actually set up some of your screen lock settings. So if you go down to Touch ID and Passcode, you just could scroll down and Touch ID and Passcode, and it's going to give you some options. So for example, there's a few things you can do. So you can add a passcode if you'd like to. So you would hit Turn Passcode On, and then they're going to ask you for a 6-digit passcode, and you'll have to repeat that passcode to be able to have it on your device. You can also add a fingerprint. So when you add a fingerprint, or biometrics as they call it, you can hit the add fingerprint and it will take you through the steps of doing that. So you'll have to press your finger down lightly onto your home button or onto your screen, depending on how new or how old your iPad is. And basically they're going to get all aspects of your finger, the different sides of it, that kind of thing. Just to see, when you log on, sometimes you might hit it with like half your thumb or something, and it's going to recognize that. In those cases, they want a passcode as well, because if your fingerprint doesn't work, then there has to be another way for you to get into your device, such as your passcode. So you would turn on your passcode and you can add a fingerprint as well. For some of the newer iPads and iPhones, you can also have facial recognition to open up your iPhone or iPad, and it has to be your face that opens it as well. These are all things you can set up in your settings. So once you've set up those things as well, you can go down to Privacy and Security, which is just 2 down from Touch ID and Passcode. And then you have access to these privacy and security settings. So for example, the biggest one that people turn off a lot of the time are location services, because they don't want anybody knowing, where they are, or like where their pictures are being taken, or those kinds of things, just for privacy purposes. So if you hit location services, you can actually turn off location services. So it's saying location services will be disabled for all apps, but your personalized location service settings for apps will be temporarily restored if you use Find My iPad or to enable lost mode. So what happens is that when you go to find my iPad, for example, so say you lost it, or even your iPhone, you can go into the iCloud, iCloud.com, and you can go into Find My Device, Find My iPad, Find My iPhone. And what it will do is it will actually ping to that phone or device, and it will tell you where it is. So at that point, they will actually turn location services back on for you, so you're able to find your device if you need to. I've used this for my own phone, and it's a great way of finding your phone if you lost it, and it will make a noise until you basically turn it off. And you also have an option to erase your iPad or iPhone if you cannot find it at all. So therefore, nobody's going to get into anything either. And this is where a passcode comes in, or fingerprint, because if you lose your device, nobody else is going to get into that but you. Then we have tracking. So sometimes apps will request to track. So basically what happens is they will track your information and track what you're doing on that app. And you can turn those off as well. So for example, if I want to turn that off, you would just toggle that off, and you want to ask apps that I previously allowed to stop tracking. Sometimes it'll actually pop up on Facebook when you sign up and say, do you want to track? And you just kind of hit all the buttons and you don't really read it. So you actually have the option to go back in and stop the apps from tracking. So you can say, ask apps to stop tracking. So you would hit that. It's going to turn that right off for you. So now nothing is tracking you at all. If you had other apps on here that were tracking you, such as like Instagram or any of those other ones, they would be listed there as well. But if you shut it off, it should shut them off for you there. Then you have contacts. So right now it's saying that, applications that have requested your access to your contacts. So pretty much every single thing that you go on, like an app, is going to ask to have your contacts. So Instagram will try to connect you with other people. Facebook will do the same thing. I have this turned off, so Instagram is not accessing my contacts. Calendars and reminders. So once again, you can turn on some settings for those. Photos. So photos, I've already turned off my my security settings to let you know where the location is, but photos can actually be drawn to location as well, and it will tell you if they are using your location for those photos. So right now I have here apps requested photo apps access. So you can see here, these are the things that I have that I've allowed to access photos or selected photos, etc., etc. And you can turn these on and off by just tapping them and going into those settings as well. Bluetooth. So these are things that have asked for access to Bluetooth. Applications that have requested the ability to use Bluetooth will appear here. So these are ones that have actually asked me already, and you can turn all of these off if you'd like as well. Local network. So once again, I've allowed Capture to access my local network because this is something I use for video recording. So anything here that you wouldn't recognize or that you don't want to have access to your local network, you would just shut it off. Your microphone as well. So these are all things that have asked you to have access to your microphone. And once again, you can turn off what you would not like to have access to your microphone. Speech recognition is speech recognition, your camera. So this here, photos and videos taken with a camera may contain other information, such as where they were taken in the depth of field. So these are things that you can choose to turn off and on as well. These are the apps that have requested access to the camera. So you can always go back through here and see if there's anything that you don't recognize, and you can just shut those off as well. Media and Apple Music, so that is something that you can go into as well. Files and folders. So you can see here that these are the apps that have requested access to my files and folders that they may actually need to get something out of. Like for photos, for example, I may have photos in some files that I have on this device. So it's saying I'm giving access to that. But once again, you can turn these off as well. So you just would toggle them on or off. Motion and fitness. So if you use fitness tracking, you can turn that on or off. So fitness tracking will store data on your device that relates to your body, motion, steps, stairs climbed, and more. Sometimes it can also have access to location services. So that's something you can turn on and off, and you can just remember those things as well. Analytics and improvements. So this is the thing that people normally don't want. They don't want to share their information with Apple or with Google, etc. So you can actually turn off Share iPad Analytics. So it's not sharing anything with Apple. So as you can see here, I have nothing else turned on, but it says help Apple improve safety features by sharing your safety data. So once again, if that's something you'd like to share with them, you can. Most people actually have these shut off. They do not want to share this information with Apple or any other companies. So you can choose to actually toggle them on and off if you'd like to do that. And then they have an app privacy report. So an app privacy report shows how often apps use permission you've granted to access your data, like your location or your microphone. It also includes a breakdown of each app's network activity, website network activity, and the most frequently contacted domains. So you can turn on the app privacy report, and that will just let you know how often those apps that you've allowed to have access to your device, how often it's doing that. So it will actually let you know these things as well. And then lockdown mode. So lockdown mode, basically if you think that you've been targeted by a cyber attack, you can actually turn on lockdown mode. So that will basically just allow the iPad to do other things, but it will not actually allow any of your security stuff to be touched or anything like that. So it kind of puts it into like this lockdown mode where it cannot be touched to do certain things with, just to protect you from possible hackers, etc. And that's privacy and security for the iPad. Have a great day.